You know, I never thought that somebody could be as stupid as this guy. But for you to make a claim that you were responsible for Juneteenth is completely and clearly a slap in the face to every African American male, female, and child in this country. And the descendants before them. This is DJ Wolf Live. All right, let me get the show on the road right quick. Okay. Donald Trump, once again, has proven he is the dumbest, stupidest motherfucker in America. Ever. Not just as president, if that's what they call him. He's just stupid. You know, and I got a lot to say about this. First of all, he was scheduled to try to do a June 19th campaign rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You know, the site of the Tulsa bombings of Black Wall Street, where black people were actually building their own and carving their own niche in society, where they own banks, hotels, restaurants, barbershops, you name it. You know, they had it going on. And of course, white people didn't want to see that, and they literally got the government to, from all accounts, got them to come out there and help them destroy it. Now, of course, Trump was going to besmirch the memory of it as part of the Juneteenth celebration by having his meeting on that day. And to put salt into the wound, I'm talking about like not only pouring it on, actually pouring it on and add more. This son of a bitch talks about he's the reason Juneteenth exists. He's responsible for why Juneteenth is here. He just never ends. He has absolutely no filter at all. Although I do think he's an idiot, I think he says what he says for effect to get attention, to constantly get attention. That's usually what, for the most part, a lot of women do that. So, speaking of women, a woman I know, we had a discussion about this earlier, literally said, because I was telling about something that somebody else had said, literally it said, well, the other person said that Trump is a very smart businessman. And he said a very smart businessman who don't know when to keep his mouth shut. I've heard this a few times. I heard this on television as well. Now, here's my thing. If he was a very smart businessman, he would know to keep his mouth shut. Do you hear guys like Warren Buffett talking all the time? He does talk. He talks when he needs to talk. Or Bill Gates talk when he needs to talk. Guys like that don't talk all the time. You don't see him talking every day. You see him behind the scenes working. Something that Trump does not really know how to do. He's not a very smart businessman on top of that. Don't give him that much. Don't even give him credit for that at all. He's not even a businessman. He's not even a good businessman, period. This guy has lost more money being a businessman than anybody I know or anybody I've ever heard of. If he calls himself a top-flight businessman, he's just a terrible businessman. He's been known to bankrupt hotels, and I know this for a fact because I stayed at a hotel right next door to it. True story. My wife took me to New Jersey for my 50th birthday, right? We stayed at the Resorts Hotel in Casino. Beautiful. It's an older hotel, but it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. The food was impeccable, man. And right next door to us was a Trump Taj Mahal. That place was virtually dead. Okay? Wasn't nobody going in it, wasn't nobody going out of it. Trust me, I know. I was over there. I was there for about, not quite a week, but I was there for a few days. Wasn't nothing happening over there, period. And this was 2014. Okay? So I know for a fact that Trump does not have it going on at all. As a businessman, he's failed. Time and time again. Alright? A well-known fact. But there's no way in hell you're going to give this son of a bitch credit for something he's no longer about or never really was. The money that he did get, he made, he got from his daddy. He's been in multiple lawsuits. He won't explain about his tax returns, or he won't show it. He won't show his account. And really, legally, he's supposed to do that. People say, he ain't legally, yes, he does. You know, you have to show your returns. You have to show your return. He won't do it. He ain't done it yet. All candidates are supposed to do that when they actually run for office, and when they are in office. He won't show it. He won't show his returns. Yeah, you know something's up with that. But somebody actually tried to call him a smart businessman. This is a guy who say the dumbest shit man has ever heard. You know, you said a lot of dumb shit about stuff pertaining to police brutality and police killings of unarmed civilians as well. This guy really, honestly, he needs to step down as president. I'm going to be the first. I'm going to say it right up front. He needs to step down for the betterment of this country. He said a lot of stuff that's really, he's put people in harm's way based on what he comes out of his mouth. And they know it. But they don't care. The problem with racism in this country is that it's not being addressed. The 800-pound elephant in the room is in the room, and no one wants to act like it's there. That's the problem that's been there for over 400 years. Okay? 400 fucking years. Okay? That's the problem. And I was telling somebody earlier, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm not saying to be braggadocious or anything, but think about it. When we talk to white people, I ain't going to say melanated, not melanated, I'm going to say white people. When we talk to white people about race, we come from a very logic standpoint. And that's even the most grimy of us. We usually come from a pretty logic standpoint. All right? This I know for a fact. When it comes to white people, at least the ones I've talked to and ones I've known of other people who have told me stories about conversations they had about race, they always like to divert the attention from fact from fiction, okay? Or fact to fiction, which is usually what they do. It's time for y'all guys to have a come to Jesus moment. And yeah, I said, when I'm saying come to Jesus moment for you guys, I'm talking about a reality moment like no other you've ever had before. Because it's time that you address the issue. It's time that you recognize. It's time that you recognize that we have a problem. The problem that just not only affects us as African Americans, but affects everybody in this country. And you think because it only affects African Americans, that's not your problem. It is your problem. This is the problem that you created. Okay? This is a problem that you welcomed by snatching people from their homeland and bringing them over here. This is your problem. And in order for you to work the problem out, you have to address the problem as it is, for what it's worth. And say, okay, you've been here, you have generations of families just like we have generations of family here. And it's time that we come together and work and work on being a better people to you. Another thing I want to address. Black Lives Matter. You know, for a while, I didn't understand when people said Black Lives Matter that it meant only Black Lives Matter. That's what I was thinking. No. But I also had thought at the same time, when you say all lives matter, that we should be selfish in thinking that it's just black lives that should matter. So it just dawned on me not too long ago, and it's true. The reason why we personify the phrase and the term Black Lives Matter is because we want to address the issue of and focus on our issue of not seeming to be mattering from other people, particularly police officers and the such, white supremacists, and white people in general. The focus is that, hey, y'all lives have always mattered in y'all life to you, but when it comes to anybody else's life, such as ourselves, it don't. Here's the thing. There was, I think it might have been Michael Shea. I think it was Michael Shea because we talked about it earlier. And he has a Netflix special, which I do plan on watching. And I also recommend the Dave Chappelle special at 8:46, where Dave Chappelle specifically addressed the issue about what happened to George Floyd. And comments was made by that dirty bitch Candace Owens. Yeah, I said she's a dirty bitch. She's a dirty bitch. And I mean that in every sense of the word. She's a daddy lover. I mean, a zaddy lover. That's for damn sure. She loves her some zaddy. But nevertheless, Michael Shea in the special they did talked about Black Lives Matter. And he said, you're not going to go up to your wife and say, I love everybody. Honey, I love everybody. He was trying to compare Black Lives Matter like, okay, specifically to address our problem versus saying that if you say all lives matter, your focus is about everybody's lives and ours. But everybody's lives aren't being put in the balance on a daily basis. Not everybody's lives is being at risk like ours daily. That has not been like that. It's always been like that with people of color for over 400 years. Our lives have always been hanging in the balance from day one when we landed here on Plymouth Rock. We've always had our lives dangling off a tightrope. Okay? We have. Everybody hasn't. Okay? That's why when we say Black Lives Matter, the focus is to focus on why our lives aren't mattering to anybody else, but everybody else's lives do. That's the whole point of saying Black Lives Matter. That's why we speak it. You know? But for a while, I didn't understand either. I was like, well, is that biased? But it's not. It's absolutely not biased at all. To say all lives matter is to say, it was said the joke. Baby, I love you, but I love everybody else too. Okay, we know that everybody else is being loved, But if you're in a relationship with that person, you know, you want them to know that you're focusing on your love with them. That's the point that needs to be addressed. And that's the point that I took from that. You know? In other words, when you're focused on the agenda of what you're trying to achieve, or what you're trying to convey, you're pointing out what needs to be addressed. That's basically what I'm saying. Because if you say all lives matter, it goes everywhere. Okay? If you say Black Lives Matter, you're focusing directly on what we're trying to address. It's not all over the place either. You know? And that's the point I'm trying to make. That's exactly what I'm trying to make. That's the point I'm trying to say. People, you know, people trip, man. But I'm tired, and I'm sick and tired of us every time we try to fight and fight and fight. And I'm talking about, like, verbally fighting and fighting to try to get things changed, and they still don't take you seriously, and they still give you crumbs, and they still talk about, well, you know, we'll invoke a chokehold law. Motherfuckers, we don't want just no chokehold law, bitch. We want the whole enchilada. We want major changes. That's not a major change, and the sweeping changes that they are offered is still crumbs. You know, it's like the trickle down economics, where they figure, well, we'll give you about $1,000 per family, you know, or $1,000 per person a month. In this economy, that is not enough. It's not, especially when you're going to be out of work for a few months. It's hard on people, man. You know? Trump himself doesn't plan on anything. He just do. And he does it really bad. That's the problem I got with a guy like him. He doesn't plan anything. He doesn't have real, and he just don't care. The problem is we got too many people like Trump out here who's not only on the top of the heap, which is scary in itself, but people in the middle and people below him. Notice that John Bolton is getting ready to blow the doors open wide open on Trump's bullshit, and already they're trying to quiet it down. John Bolton got a new book out that will expose Trump for the fraud that he is. I mean, the real fraud that he is. And I'm hoping that it does, because he is a fraud. He's a fraud in chief. He's a racist in chief, is what I call him. That's what he is. You know? I don't give him credit for nothing else other than being a racist that he is. He is definitely that. So I have to address it for what it is. All right, guys. That's all I got. I will say more about that and a whole mess of other stuff. DJ Wolf Live. Stay tuned.